It's a lovely Saturday again, and we are here just to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports. And when I say sports, we mean any sports. But then when I say any sports, I'll be lying to you. But we are mostly targeting soccer. And Ango Rapson is here laughing at me. And welcome to Off the Pitch. For those who are just glued to your TVs, you can inform your friends to say they can even watch us live on Facebook. Just follow our page, which is Camnet TV, like it, and you'll be able to watch us live from there and give your comment in the inbox from there, and we'll be able to get back on our question for today. But anyway, before we get into the question of today, I'm your host, Amos, aka Amore, and I'm not alone on set. I'm joined by Ango Rapson. Ango Rapson, welcome.
Good afternoon, Amos, and it's good to be back on the show. Good afternoon, dear viewers, and all of you that love sport. The Zambian Super League is back, and we've seen a couple of games being played, a couple of temperaments flying up left, right, and center. It's just been a fantastic and very, very explosive week so far.
You've been exploring, Ango Rapson. You've been moving up and down, trying to gather information in terms of where football is concerned.
I had the privilege to watch the opening game on last week Saturday. Napsa Stars was squaring it off against Zesco United, and that match was a very, 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 very explosive match, full of tempers. The referee had his own parts to play in the match, and clearly
had to overreact.
We'll come to that.
Anyway, that was just a brief snitch on what Ango Rapson has been up to, because for the past week he was in charge. We just said, okay, Ango Rapson, you're in charge of going through whatever games that are there. It's your job. But anyway, before we get into details, to check on the 26-man provision team that Michu has selected, and the games that are being played today, mostly between Prison Leopards and Red Arrows, which is an early kickoff game. I'm sure by now it's about to, it has already started. We'll just get into details on that after this very short break. Catch us on the other side.
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply. Join Pastor Victoria and Moses Chilua, the Healing Word Ministries International.
Starting on the 3rd to 6th December 2020.
Dr. Francis Miles from the USA returns to Zambia for a conference on issuing restraining orders.
Because you see, God responds to your revelation. So if you approach God as the healer, He heals you. If you approach Him as your shepherd, He will touch your soul. But if you approach Him judicially, He will show you He's the cause.
Venue: the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Time:
17 hours to 19 hours from Thursday to Saturday.
And on Sunday from 09 hours to 11 hours. For more details, call +260 962 965 883. You do not want to miss this conference this time.
Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, you're glued to Off the Pitch, the show that gives you nothing but the best highlights in terms of where football is concerned and other sports. But for now, we will look at the game between Red Arrows versus the Prison Leopards, which is an early kickoff game. I'm sure by now it has even started. But before we go into details over that game, I'll just go quickly on the results that was played over the week between Red Arrows and Kitwe United, where Red Arrows won by 1-0. The goal scored by
one veteran, James.
That's why I was coming. That's why I was going, Ango Rapson.
Yeah, well, that game, pretty much we saw the first game where Red Arrows was facing Green Buffaloes, and
they drew
that boring Army Derby Defense Forces. They drew. They had a barren draw, and on Wednesday, Red Arrows went on to play Kitwe United at Nkoloma. We saw the James Chamanga scoring the only goal of the match in the 34th minute, and the end result was 1-0 in favor of Red Arrows, and now Red Arrows is facing resurgent Prison Leopards. Prison Leopards is not a pushover. Out of the 2 games they've played, they are sitting on 3rd position on the log. They are in the top 4, and it's not by accident, it's by preparations. We saw them getting rid of 12 players and getting the new ones on, and I'm sure they have done their homework, they've merged, and they are a resurgent team. We saw them beating their Kitwe United in the very, very first game of the season by 3-0. They went on to draw 1-0, and facing Red Arrows at home in a double header at Railway Stadium is going to be a very, very, very tough match for me. And if you ask me, Red Arrows might get a shock of their life, because Prison Leopards have so far shown to be very, very consistent.
So for you, when you are saying maybe Arrows would have a game to incur with, meaning for you it's a 50-50 thing. Any team can carry the day.
We've seen quite a couple of shocking results this season, and there is no team that is a pushover. And you know, Red Arrows will have all that experience in the Premier League. But when you look at Prison Leopards, they are not a fearful team. They are facing big teams head on. And for me, playing that match at home with the motivation that SuperSport is covering that match live, and I'm sure the lads will play their lungs out just to prove to the world that it's also a squad that other teams should look out for, because the only thing they will do if they are going to manage this game well is probably stop supply. If they can put up a strong midfield to stop the midfielders from supplying balls to one veteran, James Chamanga, Jemba. Every little chance that he has into a goal, and so far he has opened his opened his account, and very soon most of the young players will be chasing after his top scoring record.
For me, okay, the biggest shock of the results that were there, like within the course of the week, was the game between Zesco United and Forest Rangers, because it was an anticipated game where a lot of people felt like, okay, is Numamba the right person for Zesco United? And looking at the results that he's given so far on the 2 games that he's managed the club.
Well, talking of that game, I'll begin by talking about the first game where Napsa Stars hosted Zesco
United. Yeah.
I was at Woodland Stadium watching that match live, and it's unfortunate that the match ended in a 1-1 draw. I'm saying unfortunate for a very, very simple reason. We saw Numba getting very, very upset with the referee, and clearly I was there. I saw what happened, and that match, if you ask me, Amos, it was 1-0 in favor of Zesco United. One Clement Mwampe scored the own goal of the match, 80, before Napsa Stars equalized through Lodik Mavungo. And what happened there is the game started. The game ended at 90 minutes. They signaled, I think it was 4 minutes. 4 minutes additional time. Napsa Stars only scored in the 98th minute. So you can understand the frustration of one Numba Mamba. That was like 3 points in the bag at the end of 90 minutes. You are seeing the ref signaling, the fourth official signaling 4 minutes. And the game went on. Napsa Stars scored in the 98th minute. The moment they took the ball to the center circle, just at the point of kicking off, that's how the game ended. The referee had to be rescued carefully. The ref was carefully on the day. He had to be rescued by the police because Numba was charging towards the referee, and the referee, quite okay, he was walking away, but at some point, I think out of the frustration that he underwent and the verbal abuse, the ref at some point turned back and also wanted to attack the coach as well. So it was very, very, very cumbersome actually to see that. The performance of the referees in Zambia is also proving to be something very, 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 very unfortunate in the first 2 games that we have watched. Another scandal happened in Choma, where Green Eagles beat Zanaco Football Club by a lone goal to 0. We also saw how Coach Chris Kaunda reacted to to the referees' decisions in the course of the match. Chris was very clear. He says, I don't have any issues with Green Eagles as a team, but the referees that come here to actually officiate the matches, they are somehow they leave a lot to be desired, according to the coach's opinion. And for me, if you ask me, I would say Chris was just upset and he was very emotional about the loss. I have seen teams go to Green Eagles and beat Green Eagles at home. A number of teams have beaten Green Eagles at home. It should not be an excuse when a team loses and we are looking at referees to be very, very negative. Referees are human beings and they also have their own times.
Yeah, true.
And coming to the referees, I'll divert your attention. I think let me finish the story of the referees before
you go into other details.
Yeah, because you see, the worry is on the officiating. That is the second match we are talking about. The first one was NAPSA versus Zesco United. Then there was Green Eagles versus Zanaco. Now, the latest scandal was on Thursday. I had the privilege to watch the Eden National League between City of Lusaka Football Club and
other issues.
Yeah. And Mighty Mvria Wanderers. You know, it was a situation where the ref was so happy. The ball hasn't gone out. It's on the line.
He blows.
The lineman, the assistant referee, it was a lady, is watching the line, clearly watching the line that the ball hasn't gone out. But the ref stopped play and decided it was a throw-in. So after, the assistant referee said, no, the ball didn't go out. The ref went and said, oh, he apologized, got the ball and put it on a 50-50 when it was an advantage to Mighty Mvria Wanderers. They were in an attack. He stopped the game as if it's a throw-in. That was it. That was the first incident. The second incident is on the goal which City of Lusaka scored. The assistant referee was right straight seeing the goal line. I am not too sure. I didn't watch the video whether the ball crossed the line or not. But it's a situation where the goalkeeper, the ball was flying into the net. The goalkeeper was well positioned. He held on to the ball. 3/4 of his body was beyond the line. But the ball was firmly held in his hands. And he dropped with it. And imagine where the goalkeeper also gets the ball and starts play. Then 20 seconds later, the ref decides to give it as a goal. It stopped the match in the 35th minute. There was confusion. Mvria Wanderers players all withdrew from the pitch. They went to the technical bench. They didn't want to continue.
Like in Yamkombo.
Tell me what happened. In the 35th minute when that happened, all the players, the Mighty Mvria Wanderers players, went to the technical bench to sit and discuss with the coach on what course of action they would take. There was serious confusion. The assistant referee didn't give it as a goal. But the ref was way beyond the 18-yard box. He's the one who signaled for a goal. Whatever happened, whatever he saw, I don't know. But you see, such officiating brings a lot of credibility issues. And we need to move away from that. If the chairman of the referees has been following this, they need to up their game for fair play. That game ended 1-1. Mvria Wanderers ended up equalizing at the end of the match, and they came to Lusaka and got away with a point.
But for me, I would say, is it a lack of training as referees, or maybe it's just an issue of, okay, which team do I want to?
It's difficult. You know, mistakes are prone to be made. They are human beings as well.
But you don't expect someone to make 2 mistakes in a game.
The level of mistakes
are very high.
Very unfortunate, because you are not going to blow a whistle as a ref that it's a throw in, the ball has gone out, when you have your assistant referee right by the line. Why not wait for the flag to go up, then you blow and stop the match? So it's these small inefficiencies that we are talking about that need to be improved and worked on by the referees. Otherwise, I've got no hard feelings with them. They do a great job. Games are very difficult, and it's very difficult. They operate in difficult environments, especially with veteran coaches around you who've been there
in the game
for a very long time. You tend to be intimidated as well, but they just need to up their game.
Anyway, before we even continue, Ango Rapson, for the fans, like for the viewers who are just joining us, you are watching Off the Pitch, the show that gives you nothing but the best highlights in terms of football and the local league. And for our question for today, it's there scrolling down on your TV screens. It's an issue of the 26 provisional man squad that Michu selected, where a couple of names were for me, I would say a couple of names are missing. And I know you as the supporter who you are, I'm sure you've got a say to that, and you're free to call in and give us your view in terms of the 26-man provisional team that Michu called. And we are grateful to hear of the arrival of the first two foreign-based players, who is Augustine and Justin Shonga, who just touched the airport today. They are already in. So you can just call in and give us your view in terms of that. It's just there. So Amorapson, a quick one. Any names that you expected not to see and names that are supposed to be there for you?
I am not going to comment on the names that are not appearing on the list. Let's give the blood support. The coach has done his job. The coach has done his job. When you look at the goalkeeping department, it's a very, very great combination. The other week we were talking about Alan Chiwe joining Green Eagles.
Green Eagles, yeah.
His performance in the last two games for Green Eagles has been very, very, very tremendously positive. He's been on a very, very positive trajectory, and for him to be considered in the team for the first time after a long time, the coach has seen something in him. We've got Lamek Siame from Cabo Warriors and Jackson Kakunda from Power Dynamos. That is completing the goalkeeping department. On the midfielders, I expected to see Triple C there. The coach has got his own views. He brought in the issues of age. Triple C is probably 29, and the coach has been talking about, because this squad, if you see the composition of this squad, it's a squad that has an average age of 24.
24 going.
The only senior players in that team are probably the goalkeepers.
Augustine, but Augustine is far beyond 29.
No, on paper he's 28, 29. So for me, it's the official age that we are talking about. He's one of the oldest players that have been called to the team. But for me, like they say, form can be temporal. Form can be temporal, but the skill itself is a permanent thing that is in the players. The two players that have shocked everybody, Justin and Augustine, they have joined the team. Micho has been their coach for a very, very long time. He knows the capacity of these two players. He managed them at Orlando Pirates, and he knows the capacity they have and the type of football they can contribute to the Zambian national soccer team. Even as we face Botswana this Thursday in a back-to-back encounter, it's been a team that he has picked, and for me, nothing very, very surprising. He's likely to use. If I go through the squad, probably I can even guess I can actually make my first 11 from this squad. Probably in goals we will proceed with Sebastian Mwange. Right back, he's likely to use
Lubambo Msonda.
Left back, Zakaria Chilongo. He might start there. Centre back, we've got Tandy, and probably Luka Banda will take that position. Defending midfielders, probably he's likely to use Kelvin Kapumbu.
That's the fact.
Go with the one Inokumwepu in midfield. On the right-hand side, very high chances that he's going to use Augustine on the right, and on the left, chances are that he might go for
Kelvin
Muwanga, or probably Evans Kangwa, and probably up front start with the
that's where the question comes.
On the strikers, I think on the strikers he
Collins is Kombe.
No. It's very, very tight there. When you look at Emmanuel Chabula's performance of late, he's also claiming a position in the team because he's been very, very outstanding. I watched him in midweek at Sunset Stadium. We'll come to that a little later while we complete this particular list. For me, it's a very, very great squad that the coach has called in. Nothing surprising. He's looking at the future. And when you look at the capacity of Botswana, we are playing them back-to-back Thursday, and 4 days later we go to Botswana and face them in the return match, and very good chances.
But let's look at the issue of us as fans commenting to say, why is Mwape Msonda not there?
Well, it's very easy. Mwape Msonda left.
And the way he's been banging goals.
Where has he been banging goals?
From the previous league.
Oh yeah, if you talk about the
Black Leopards.
You see, Amos, this is where I have a problem. If you want to be calling players because of their history, we will make a very, very terrible mistake, because now you'll be telling me that go and call Collins Mbesom. If you want to take that route. coming to Mwape Msonda, for example, you've mentioned one name. I'll talk about it. Mwape was playing for Black Leopards. He was banging in goals at Black Leopards. What happened to him? He went into United Arab Emirates. What is he doing there? His team is playing below everybody's expectation. And his performance in the United Arab Emirates leaves a lot to be desired. Why would you go such a player from such a league and his team is not doing too well to come and play for the national team when you have capacity locally of the young boys and you have all seen how the lads have been tormenting the defenders? We have proper strikers that are doing the job, and for me, it's nothing personal against Mwape Msonda, but I think the squad that Coach Micho has called is on point for me, if you ask me, because he's still saying the other players who haven't been called, they still have chance, they still have
to prove.
Yeah, they still have that time. But of course, the philosophy which Micho has come with, where his main aim and emphasis is actually on the age of the players. He's not entertaining anybody who is close to 30. Of course, the goalkeepers are an exception. They mature like fine wine. The older they grow, the better they become, and probably that's why he's sticking to that. The only shocking player with a very, who's closer to the age that he doesn't want is Augustine Mulenga, who's 28, and he's been included in the squad. But maybe the rest of the boys are very young. They are average age.
Maybe Uncle Rapson just to have an argument on that. But let's compare Triple C and Augustine. Let's look at the form. If we say maybe not, but for me, I feel like Triple C would have been a very good inclusive in that team for us.
Triple C's absence in the team,
maybe it has something to do with things that we don't know.
Triple C's absence in the team can only be explained by the coach. He has his own reasons. Above the reasons that he has stated, he's talked about age. But on the other hand, he's gotten Augustine Mulenga, who's 28, and leaving Triple C, who's playing very good football at the age of 29. And for me, I think issues are still coming from the flights that those boys missed in the previous invite they had. It's more likely to do with that, but for me, I think that is water under the bridge. We have to focus with the squad that is available and prepare adequately. And I'm glad that the two South African-based boys have already arrived in the country. And immediately after the Premier League games today, the boys are flocking into camp. They will have 3 days to prepare, with 4 days to prepare for the game. So and you know, majority of the players are local. I think 14 of them are local, and he's only called 10 pros. So, I mean, is it 14? 14 and 12?
No, I think it's 15.
It's something like 15
that. 15 local players, yeah.
When you look at that, it means that all these players will be available starting tomorrow morning. So in terms of preparations, he's not going to count on the professionals that will be flying in late. So he'll start preparations right in good time and prepare for the Botswana game, and it will be played under floodlights. And I can only wish Zesco.
Won't he do us bad?
The minister was announcing recently that we'll start experiencing a 12 hours shedding, and I can only hope that match will be spared, so that the fans can enjoy watching that game probably on TV. And hopefully the 12 days would have elapsed that the minister hinted that within the next 12 days the gates should be open, and I can safely say we will have some news probably on Monday morning confirming that fans will be allowed in the stadium for the Botswana game.
And for those who are just joining us, you are watching Off the Pitch, the show that gives you nothing but the best highlights in terms of sports and where sports is concerned. And for those who are able to watch us, you can also watch us live on Facebook. You can just follow our page, which is Camnet TV. Like it, and you'll be able to watch us live from there. And coming back to the Zambian provisional team that was selected, I think for the previous week, people have been commenting to say the best local-based player that we have is Kelvin Mulanga. And looking at the performance that Zesco has been giving, I don't know where your comment can be. Do you expect Kelvin Mulanga to start for Zambia on the 12th?
I watched Kelvin against Napster Stars. The goal that Clement Mwape scored was actually an assist from Muba. Kelvin Mulanga and Bruce Msakanya tormented Napsa Stars, and you could see the change, and the combination in that team was very, very fantastic. And Muga was always on point when he gets the ball. He's got those pinpoint passes that he has. And for me, that type of player, a combination of that kind of player and the agility of one Fashion Sakala, we should be able to have enough lethal manpower to destroy the Zebras of Botswana on Thursday. He's a very, 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 very good player, especially his ball distribution. His ball work is very, very good. He's got a vision, he's got pinpoint passes. When he's putting in a cross, he does not put in a blind pass cross. He picks his spot and delivers where the ball should be. And for me, when you have that kind of a player with the creativity of one Enoch Mwepo in midfield, you expect us to be on point on Thursday and probably collect maximum points.
Let's look at the striking force. The striking force, it's run short of one Papa Patson Daka, where a lot of people felt like they got more disappointed looking at he's not with the team because he's
got a hamstring injury.
Yeah, which can take him up to a month or so. Yeah. But what options, if you were Michu, what options would you go for?
Well, probably for me, the captain of the day on Thursday, all things being equal, is going to give it to one Evans Kangwa, and one Evans Kangwa is going to take the actual spot which Patson Daka should have been on Thursday. And Evans Kangwa has been improving at Arsenal Tula, and I think he's got the capacity to deliver even in the absence of Patson Daka. Remember, this team that we have should never be centered around one player. It's a very, very huge mistake if we start concentrating and putting pressure on Patson Daka and probably Enoch Mwepo, because they are like the stars of the current team, the current setup. But the more we put pressure on them, the more they are likely to fail to deliver. So for me, teamwork comes in first, then other things come in later. When you look at the composition of these boys again, Evans Kangwa is likely to close that gap. Mm-hmm. There's Fashion Sakala. So when you look at our strikers, then you have Kelvin Kampamba on the left side. Those are serious attackers. Kelvin, Evans, Fashion, and probably on the right, chances, very high chances, are that Lubambo will go up front. And they will use Kondwani Chimboni as a right back. So that the attack is complete. On the right, if you have Lubambo, on the left you have Kelvin. Then up front, probably Fashion will partner with Evans Kangwa. That will be the squad that was going to destroy the Zebras of Botswana.
So your prediction?
I'm a Zambian citizen. What kind of question is that?
No, I know we are going for a win, but with how many goals?
It's very, very difficult when you look at the history of our game and the setup, the number of goals that our team is scoring. Probably I'll be very surprised if this game goes beyond 2 goals. My prediction is Zambia 2, Botswana 0.
And that's Angorapson prediction. He's predicting to say we are going to hammer the Botswana, the Zebras, right?
The Zebras of Botswana
by 2 goals to 0. And for all those who are just watching,
the return match is the one that is likely to be good. We are likely to beat them at home in their own backyard. Mm-hmm. By a couple of goals, because I know Zambia will have a lot of pressure, especially when the gates are open to the fans. They will have a lot of pressure to score. So for me, back home, results, a 2-goal advantage will be okay. Probably when we go to Botswana, it will be a free-flowing game, and we are likely to score more goals there. The floodgates of heaven are going to open.
I think we saw our coach Michu having a lot of experiments from the friendly games that we had some time back. And he had reached an extent of, after us playing the last friendly game that we had, he said, it's now done. Each player has to fight for their position. Are we not going to see Michu trying to put in experiments on the Botswana game?
We have seen the squad that he has got, and experiments can be seen from the names. Now, the only confidence that he should instill in the players is, out of the experiments that I was making, I have decided to settle for you guys. I have settled for you guys. It's up to you. It's up to you to prove to the nation that my calling you to the national team, for you to wear this Zambia national soccer team jersey, you have to die a little for Mother Zambia and just perform to the expectations of the fans. So the boys that have been called should be able to account for themselves well, because they know Michu is a very, very disciplinarian. He's a very, very tough disciplinarian. You misbehave, you don't play, you don't give in your best. Probably you will see maybe other players might even be dropped for the return match against Botswana. You might see 1 or 2 call-ups and 1 or 2 dropouts from the game if they don't perform to the expectations of the nation.
And to those soccer lovers who are watching from home, you can call in to give your view on the 26-man provisional squad that Michu called for the Botswana back-to-back game, which is being played on the 12th and 16th. On the 12th, it's there on at Heroes Stadium, at 18 hours sharp. And Angorapson mentioned it earlier to say, hopefully by then or before that, the minister will have to give an announcement or a statement whether fans will be allowed to be there in the stadium. But for that, Angorapson, do you think maybe if it's allowed to say, okay, fans are allowed to be there, does our national team really need the fans for their boost up, or I don't know?
Every player performs extremely well with the crowd. Every player does that. And like we all know, the 12th player is always the fan. There are 11 on the pitch. The 12th player will be cheering and clapping and dancing or rollating and giving you that support, that motivation that you need. And that has been lacking in the last few games. I've watched a couple of local leagues. I watched a game on Saturday, I watched a game on Wednesday, I watched a game on Thursday. And under the new normal, where the games are not open to the public, they are just open by invitation, and those members of the press are the only ones that are allowed to go and watch, to go and cover the matches for the sake of dissemination of information. The 12th player is really, really very, very important to the Zambian game, and the 12 days that the minister gave is expiring just before the Zambia-Botswana game, and hopefully that the announcement will be made early, because they will need to be given enough time to purchase the tickets and plan to flock to the stadium.
Anyway, before we touch other things, I think it's
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
You're still watching Off the Pitch, the show that gives you nothing but the best in terms of sports. And like I said earlier, you can call in to give your view in terms of the 26-man provisional team that Michu called for the back-to-back games between Zambia and Botswana. And the other thing is, we are hopefully to see the Minister of Sports to announce or to make that announcement to say the gates are open for fans to be there, because there is an issue, and there still is going to be an issue in terms of why did the Kopala thingy happen, and a lot of people were there. So we are hoping, as soccer fans, as soccer lovers like me and Angorapson, hopefully to see you guys there in the stadiums, because for us it's not a problem, but we are looking at you who are home. And just a quick one, Angorapson, let's look at the fixtures for today. We already looked at the Prison Lepers versus Red Arrows game, which is an early kickoff. I'm sure it's there right now, it's on. But let's look at the Kawi Warriors game versus Nkana. And when I look at this game, I'm seeing a Nkana team that hasn't been performing well.
Yeah, we've started very, very poorly this season. Nkana Football Club started very, very poorly this season, and it was quite unfortunate to see Forest Rangers beating us and beating Nkana Football Club. And the second game, Nkana went and hosted Lumana Radiance, and that game ended goalless. And we had, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were 2 disallowed goals in that match, and they were all against Nkana, and as usual, referees had to be discussed here and there. But coming into this game against Cabo Warriors, we've been beating Cabo Warriors home and away a couple of times, and for the first time this season, we are going to have our Umbro kit ready, and we are not going to use the blue and white one.
It was very bad.
Cabo Warriors is at home, and it would have been a disaster if we didn't receive the kit on time. But I heard that the white one has arrived, and we are likely to be in white this afternoon. Ghana is likely to be in white this afternoon. And Cabo Warriors, they've also had a very, very slow start to the league, and it's going to be a very, 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 very interesting match. And Manfred Chabinga's job is beginning to be very, very questionable. He's been a caretaker coach for too
long. Let's say for too long.
Yeah, probably he's going to 1 year now, just in his caretaker position. And for me, clearly, even the winning of the league, I have never given him credit, if you ask me. Why? Because the league that Nkana won was as a result of teams failing to win their own games to claim the title, and it was just given to us by virtue of their own mistakes. Nothing against the coach, but clearly he's a coach who loves being second and not first, because by now he should have given us reason. He should have given us as fans a reason to push Exco that this guy needs to be given a job on full-time basis. But away from that, there is an issue of our preparations in the CAF Confederations Cup games and Champions League games. And when you look at all those permutations, this afternoon's game should be a revamping, a rejuvenated Ghana Football Club starting to win games on their own, on the pitch. And I can only wish Ghana Football Club all the best. My prediction for the game is probably a 1-1 draw.
You've made it seem like there is no confidence in Manfred anymore. And let's not shy away and run away from the rumors of Chicken going to Ghana. For now, we can just state it as a rumor.
It is a rumor, and
but okay, for you somehow as a person who has been following Ghana for.
Oh, by the way, I'm following Lumana.
Yeah, for today I've seen you follow a lot of teams. That's the reason why I've said following. For you who follows Ghana somehow, is it going to be a good move for Ghana if the rumor is true?
Well, we'll comment when
it's announced.
We get there. But clearly, there is no club in this country and on the continent of Africa that would want to miss the services of one Chicken George. His experience on the African continent, his experience in the local league. He's probably the only local coach who has had 4 titles in 8 years alone in this country. And a coach of his caliber is a great addition to a big club like Ghana Football Club, if you ask me.
Let's look at Forest Rangers versus Lusaka Dynamos. Forest Rangers are up to no good. They are looking at the slip. They slipped the league title last season. For me, it was their fault. For me, I would say it was
their fault. Yes, they had 2 chances.
And let's look at their stats. They beat Zesco United by a goal to nil. Just
start with us. They beat Ghana Football Club in their first game.
And then they beat.
They have played 2 games.
Zesco United.
They have played 2 games.
Won 2 games.
They have won 2 games.
Let's look at them facing LD. A Lusaka Dynamos team that, for me, I would say, it's not well organized.
Hey.
No, we've seen that. They bring in names, but not well organized.
I'm laughing because Collins Iskombe is making his debut this afternoon for Lusaka Dynamos in Ndola against Forest Rangers. Then, hopefully, I didn't get to confirm this. Lusaka Dynamos got the services of the former Ghana Football Club captain, Musa Muhammad. He's joined Lusaka Dynamos, and most likely,
he's making
I'm not too sure if he's making a debut today. We'll confirm that immediately after the show. We'll try and make those confirmations, but he has traveled with the team. And Collins Iskombe is making his debut this afternoon against Forest. And that team that Lusaka Dynamos is assembling, for me, it's a source of concern in one aspect. There is a rumor that they are still hunting players. And we will not mention names until it happens, but they are still getting players, especially players whose contracts are coming to an end with the other club, with their parent clubs at the moment. So they'll start, you know how the law is. You can get into negotiations and sign pre-contracts before your contract expires 6 months before it expires. You can start those negotiations. And when you look at what Lusaka Dynamos is doing, they recently got the services of the Zambia national soccer team striker Chabula. And I had the privilege to watch him on Wednesday against a local derby against Napster Stars. And Lusaka Dynamos, I can only wish Wedson Nyerenda and his technical bench all the best in molding these individual stars into a team. It's a very, very, very difficult thing. And this is one of the things that Mitchell keeps on saying, gelling. I want the team to gel, gelling of the squad. This is exactly what Lusaka Dynamos should do if they are to make a mark. The game against Forest Rangers, they came into the Six Nation League, didn't perform well. We all looked down on them to say this team hasn't prepared well. They have damaged 2 giants so far, 2 giants of Zambian football. They've stopped Nkana, they've stopped Zesco, and everything is working for them. And Coach TC is on point. And I wouldn't be shocked if Lusaka Dynamos is caught unaware this afternoon as well.
And get hammered.
They shall be hammered. Because you see, these players which Lusaka Dynamos has put together, they haven't had enough time to train with the team. Chabula made his debut. Collins is making his debut. Musa Muhammad. All these new players that they are calling into the squad are yet to gel together and just do that thing that we call a team. For now, they are individual stars, and we can only wish them all the best. And this afternoon, my prediction is Forest Rangers 1, Lusaka Dynamos 0 in that match.
A quick one on the Kitwe United versus Indeni FC, something that people would say it's an underdog match.
Indeni Football Club have been quite unfortunate this season. They haven't started very well, and their position is right in the relegation zone. They are with the Kitwe United is at the bottom, of course, followed by Nkana. You know, we are leading the table from behind. So it's an issue where it's a derby of the Eden graduates, the Eden University graduates playing another match. And for me, Indeni has an upper hand this afternoon. They have been very, very consistent in terms of preparations. They've been on point, and to see them play Kitwe United, I can only wish them all the best. And my prediction in that match is it will be a goalless draw.
Just a draw?
It will be a goalless draw because I don't see Kitwe United scoring goals, and I don't see Indeni scoring goals, and very high chances that it will be a goalless match.
Looking at the Zesco United team that has invested in Kelvin Mwanga Kampamba and Bruce Msakanya, because Numba made it clear to say these will be our main players, these will be our game changers. They've only picked a point from the 2 games that they've played. And today they are facing Lumwana Radiance away.
And you know what has happened to Lumwana Radiance? I think their pitch is under renovations, so they are taking all the games to Solwezi. If I'm not mistaken, their pitch is still being worked on. And that pitch is a very, very difficult hunting ground. And Patrick Piri has his lads, and you know he's gotten quite a couple of players. If you recall very well, one of the best goalkeepers that was trending in the Zambian Super League towards the end of the season, although I didn't like the player, one guy is with the Lumwana Radiance. And when you look at Lumwana Radiance playing at home and facing Zesco United, this is a game where Zesco United have no choice but to pick up maximum points. It's not an easy hunting ground, but Numba Mumamba knows that his head is slowly moving towards the chopping board if his performance continues to be the way it is, because football is about results. Forget the contract, whether you signed a 3-year contract, 2-year contract. If results are not coming your way, there's a very nice term that you use in football, mutual consent. We've parted company on mutual consent. Those signals are like
he was the Ahmad at Zanaco.
Those questions will start coming. They'll start following him. Because when you look at his performance so far, he's only picked up a point out of 6. He's dropped 5 already. Of course, there are teams like our own Nkana Football Club is also in similar circumstances. And this match, Zesco United, I think because of the pressure that they have and the type of result that they are expecting to save the face of Zesco United, the game is likely to go Zesco United's way, and I can only predict a 2-1 scoreline in favor of Zesco United.
To wrap up today on the games that are being played today, we are looking at the Money Spenders, Beautycon, who are away to Power Dynamos. For me, I feel like Copper Belt will be something else today. For you, looking at the purchase that also Power Dynamos made, the likes of Zakaria Chilongoshi, we are looking at them facing a Power Dynamos squad that changes players almost every season. What can be your prediction over this game?
During the course of the week, Coach Perry was complaining about the pitch. And he says, these pitches that we are using now, it's unfortunate that my players, the philosophy of the Power Dynamos game is a passing game. And the coach was very, very categorical when he said, the game that I play with my boys is a passing game. The only player who managed to be very outstanding, he was very, very categorical in mentioning his name, he was Zakaria Chilongoshi in the match they played at a very, very bumpy pitch. And I think that game ended in a 1-0 draw. They drew. And he only mentioned Zakaria Chilongoshi in that match, that this is a skillful player. He's the only one who managed to do the basics of what we do in training. But the rest of the players, they wanted a pitch, a surface that is playable, a surface that you can say football can be played. And when you look at Coach Perry versus Beautycon this afternoon, Power Dynamos is likely to carry the day, because Beautycon, we have seen them come with a very, very big bang of purchasing very, very good players, spending money like I don't know. And that disease has also gone to Kashish Warriors, my Eden team. I'm very disappointed.
I was going to there.
I am very disappointed, but let's finish with Power Dynamos. Power Dynamos Football Club is likely to carry the day today, because the squad at Power Dynamos has all it takes, and it will be good to watch Jackson Kakunta this afternoon, to see Jackson keeping a clean sheet, getting into camp tomorrow for the national team, and it will be nice for him to keep a clean sheet. Same with Lamek at Cabo Warriors. We can only wish the players that are in the national team all the best, and a clean sheet for the goalkeepers is always very, very, very good motivation to the squad.
Anyway, that was just a quick one on the games that are being played today, and tomorrow we've got a game at 13 hours between Green Buffaloes versus Green Eagles, which is, for me, I would also call it an army derby to say. And we saw Green Buffaloes drew against Red Arrows on their first game, which saw them go 0-0 if I'm not mistaken. And at 15 hours tomorrow, all these games are live on SuperSport. At 15 hours tomorrow, we've got a game, Zanaco versus Nkwazi, which is also something. I'm going to have maybe a quick one on this one. Zanaco versus Nkwazi. You watched Zanaco play, I don't know. You watched Zanaco play last week.
Yes,
on a Saturday.
Yes. Zanaco Football Club is coming from a very, very frustrating outing in Choma. They were beaten on Wednesday by one Green Eagles by a lone goal to 0, and we saw how Chris Kaunda was fuming against the performance of the referee. And when you look at Zanaco Football Club and the team that they have assembled, it's a force to reckon with, and it was unfortunate that they had to lose that match. And I think this is where you can see the consistency of Green Eagles. Green Eagles has been very consistent, but when you look at the team, to be very specific, we are looking at Zesco United versus Nkwazi. Nkwazi Football Club is where Chris Kaunda has been and has been getting players from. The recent one is it Job Joel? There's an Zanaco defender who just recently signed for Zanaco Football Club from Nkwazi, and it's a local derby for me, and it will be very, very interesting to see how Makinka and his lads at Nkwazi account for themselves tomorrow. And they are a mid-table team at the moment, and that is where they've always belonged. So for me, a local derby is always a very, very difficult game, and it's live on SuperSport. Fans can watch and make their own conclusions, but I think this match, Chris Kaunda needs to rejuvenate himself, just like I talked about Mamba. You know, where you're a big team and you're coming from a loss, you have to pick up the pieces and give you and motivate the players for a positive result. And in that match, I am expecting a go galore from Zanaco Football Club. They've got a perfect striking force, and we are likely to have a go galore at Sunset Stadium tomorrow in the second match. The area match, Green Buffaloes versus Green Eagles.
Anami Derby.
Green Buffaloes, they have they are proving to be very, very shy on target. They are not scoring many goals, and for me, Green Eagles has been taking these training sessions. These are training sessions for the CAF games that they are involved in. We've seen them collect maximum points in the last 2 games, and tomorrow's game at Sunset Stadium is not going to be easy. And I know Green Buffaloes are also very, very defensive in nature, and they don't concede many goals. And it will be very, very interesting to see the lads perform against a ruthless Tonka Twende team. And for me, Agret Young's lads are well prepared, well molded. I have gotten a report of, I've not watched them in the league so far, because I'll be watching them for the first time tomorrow, and to see them meet Green Buffaloes and coming from back-to-back wins, for me, I see them on the positive trajectory. They are continuing with the wins tomorrow. Green Buffaloes might just be surprised by a lone goal to nil by Green Eagles.
A quick one. We've got less time, but from my director upstairs, if our Eden fixture and the games that we have played last week, if they can be just displayed on our screens there for Angorapson to see how his team that he feels like he can even pledge in more money, how Kashikishi is being played, though it's not that visible. But for me, I feel like you've had a lot of hope in Kashikishi, and looking at how they were thrashed by Kafue Celtic by 5-0, I don't know if you feel like they'll pick up their...
They have played 2 games and they have lost both. It's very, very difficult. The National League is very, very difficult. The interesting games, the interesting teams that I can talk about in the Eden National League is probably Nchanga Rangers. They've started on a very, very positive note, 2 out of 2 wins, and they've invested in quite a couple of players, and you can see the results. And Nchanga Rangers is in midweek. I think they beat, they won on Thursday, and coming into this weekend's games, it's very, very interesting, because when you see Kashikishi Warriors and the money that they've pumped in the squad and the results they are getting, probably this is the time that the coach and the technical bench in Kashikishi should now see that they need reinforcement. It's very different from the provincial games that they were walloping in Wapula province. Now they are playing their games countrywide, and teams are well prepared. Kafue Celtic, I was very, very encouraged to see them wire Kashikishi Warriors by 5-0. It wasn't an easy match, and it's a wake-up call for Kashikishi Warriors. They might just drop back to the provincial leagues if they don't pick up the pieces and move on.
Let's look at the EPL games that are being played today, where we have the first game being played at 14:30. That's between Manchester United against Everton, and we are looking at a Manchester United Angorapson that has been performing very
inconsistently, so
very horrible for me, I would say. Just like our madam producer is saying behind the cameras there, very horrible.
Yeah, Man United has been very, very inconsistent, actually. Very, very inconsistent. The midweek game that we played against the Istanbul guys in the Champions League was a sorry sight, because we were caught off guard by, you know, Istanbul is like, it's a Madala's team. You saw Martin Sketo, you saw Demba. Those guys that retired from playing very active football in these well-known leagues, they go and assemble and start playing for Istanbul. And when you look at the result itself, our defense was very, very shambolic on that day. Very, very shambolic. Very unfortunate, actually, if you ask me. There is no way the entire team is going in attack. One long ball from the defense finds Demba in his own half. he runs all the way and scores. Unfortunately for me, I don't like discussing these things. But I don't know whether Solskjaer is having that soft spot for Henderson because he's an English goalkeeper. And the first goal on Wednesday, we would have done better. If David De Gea was in goal, he would have done better on that one. But looking at this fixture against Everton, I am shy to say I don't know what is going to happen. Because Everton has been on point. Of course, they lost form a bit. But Man United's inconsistencies might cost the match. Chelsea, for me, this is a given match. Sheffield United has always been very, very loyal to Chelsea in terms of point donations, and it should be an easy game for Chelsea.
Looking at time, Uncle Robson. Let's look at the Man City Liverpool, because that's special Sunday. That's a special Sunday for
Super
tomorrow.
Sunday game.
Super Sunday game, Man City against Liverpool. And we've seen a lot, there's been a lot of arguments to say, is Jurgen Klopp now going for Diogo Jota and like Firmino? Such issues are there.
So those boys accounted for themselves well. you know where you've been given an opportunity. This is the same opportunity that I'll be crisscrossing the stories. The same opportunity that Mitchell talks about. If you are given an opportunity to play and show the coach that you deserve to be there permanently. We saw the young lads that we are putting in the absence of Firmino and these veteran players. The young boy played extremely well, and if they can replicate that kind of form, Man City will be destroyed. Man City will be destroyed. It's not going to be an easy game, if you ask me. Man City has an upper hand, but I can't take away the performance of Liverpool in midweek. If they can replicate that performance tomorrow, we are in for a very, very, very lively game tomorrow.
You know, for me, Uncle Robson, I would say it has been. We've had an outstanding show, but looking at the way our our producer is doing it to my. What's your final words, Uncle Robson?
The fans, keep your fingers crossed. We are likely to get the good news on Monday. We might start meeting in the stadium to watch our lovely football, our lovely game, soccer, that brings us together as a nation. And to the teams that are playing this weekend, all the best. And Nkana Football Club, all the best today. You'll be dressed in your kit, and beating Kabwe Warriors will be a plus and a very, very good addition to the weekend. To the Zambia national soccer team going in camp, I can only wish Micho and the boys all the best as they get into camp, and let's remain focused and let's beat the Zebras. 6 points, here we come.
You know, that was Uncle Robson giving a thumbs up to the guys that we are called in camp, and hopefully to see the best results that we can see. Me and Uncle Robson and Augustine are going to be there, and we apologize for Augustine not being here. He's just being held up by something, and hopefully we'll have him anytime soon with us here in studio. But for the lads, all the best on the game that is going to be played on Thursday, and we'll be there to cheer you up and hopefully to see you, the fans, there with us. For me, Amos, aka Amore, and Uncle Robson here, who was my co-host, and our madam producer, who is very disappointed with the Manchester United results, and hopefully she will have a smile today by the end of the day after the Man U Everton game. But we'll see you next week, same time, same place, same channel, Camnet TV, which is not just another channel. We are out. Bye-bye.